Hello, I'm Elinor Brewer and I have more heart than scars.
It does have having the armor. It does create a sense of. I mean, there's been times that I've been like miles and miles in carrying somebody, and my back's hurting and everything hurts, and I'm just like, there's no possible way. But when I have the armor on, I feel like, well, I can't let this down, and it like holds you up.
It is support.
It's support.
It's like a hug.
Yeah, it's like a big hug. It like holds you, and sometimes it's a freezing cold hug, sometimes it's a really hot hug, depending on the weather. But it's been through all of these adventures with me, and when I go before a race starts, and it's cold and it's dark and it's like, and it's not until that armor gets strapped on, and when it does, each time it goes on, I go like, oh, it's almost like it's like a working dog gets its like working collar. It's like, okay, we're going to work, or the horse is getting the saddle on. Yeah. It changes, and to see it have that effect on you, right? That it holds you up in a different place, like you are being protected. First, something bad happens, whether it's a disease or it's a trauma or a loss, or and that disease can be depression. I mean, it can be a variety of things. So something bad happens, and then there's some sort of intervening thing, either a person, place, animal, song, stars. I mean, something mental, emotional, spiritual. Something gets you to kind of like, oh, and then you want to make a change, and then you start, and it begins with a habit, a good habit, and then it begins to really stick when you figure out how to share that with somebody else. So when you got that first moment, like somebody else that you were working with connected to the horse, and you saw that transfer, what was that like?
The first time, that was when I realised it wasn't just me.
Right.
And actually at first it was a little bit like difficult, because I wanted to because what me and Maggie had was special, and I was a bit put out, if anything. So I was like, well what is this then?
Yeah.
Then I realised that everything she was doing over time was helping that person in a really different way.
Right.
In a lot of similar things, but she built her up, and she did a lot of the same positives, but did it in a totally different way. And I realised the way that she did what she did for me was that was the first time that she did this. And then I realised that actually Maggie might be able to do this for hundreds of people. She might be able to do this for every person that she meets that needs help. And that was when I really started, because I hadn't even thought of it. I hadn't thought that was something that I could spread until I realised she knows what she's doing. This horse is a genius. You know, she met another girl with some reasonably similar issues in her life, and made her world a better place, just as she had absolutely changed mine. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
This isn't just a one-off, this is amazing.
Right. You begin to like, go, wait a minute,
yeah.
What if it means this way?
That was
what if it grows, and then what do I do with it? And then now what? You know, it's like,
where do I send it?
Yeah, where do we go? It goes on, I go like, the shield's heavy.
Yeah.
Every shield we've made has been heavy, and it's like, it's a burden, but what is that?
Yeah, no, it is. It's symbolically, definitely. Like you said, and I said, oh my God, I thought it was going to be fake. I thought it was going to be just a prop, and it was like, oh, shit. You know, all right, okay. And Merlin was like, what the hell as well. He couldn't deal. He was like, ooh. But it was really interesting actually being on the horse with that weight. Because I probably could have carried it. I would have ached, but I could have carried it. Right. But then I was trying to compensate for him. I was like, I want to try and balance this so we can both. Right. You know, it was very one-sided, and it made you. It knocks you. You're like, oh. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm an arm down. I'm riding. I'm an arm down. Right. My balance is off, and they're the two things I use to control my horse. Right. So it was almost like it's almost like it's giving you a burden, a problem, and you have to work around that and still be effective. Absolutely. And get bruised. Yeah, that's a nice bruise. Seen that bad boy? That's pretty impressive. That is the biggest bruise we've had. Yeah, we probably put some like padded tape around that thing, but it's not necessarily. That's not realistic and gritty. It's not really. We weren't prepared for galloping and trotting and cantering. It wasn't made for that. No. I wasn't gonna. I needed to get back in that. And Merlin and I, we had this moment. I'm moving along, and all of a sudden, I'm like,
I'm looking over the top of these mountains, and I've been dreaming about these things. Like in my heart, I've always wanted to come to a place like this. You know, you imagine it all your life, and then on top of a mountain, the ocean you can see off from one side, the hills are rolling, and I'm riding a beautiful horse named Merlin, and the boots fit, and it seemed just an incredible gift. Like I don't ever want to forget what that felt like, and it came from following a dream, doing things for other people, but also just for myself, not to be afraid. It goes on like, but I do know that I got to wear a kilt and armor and with some big bold leather boots, with the sun setting on top of a mountain, looking at the sea and the other hills in the background with the sun setting, and I felt like a superhero.
Yeah.
I felt like time disappeared and I was connected to a whole story. You're riding on Merlin, the wind's blowing, the sun's out, the armor's on. What did that feel like?
I feel like you can do anything at all. I felt like I was free and strong and utterly on top of the world. And really quite untouchable, actually.